The grid for the 2024 Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona has been revealed, with 60 cars split across 4 different classes. But who will be taking part in the biggest race of the IMSA season? Let's take a look. The big story heading into the race is that defending winners Meyer Shank Racing are not returning, concentrating instead on IndyCar in 2024. But the GTP grid has still managed to grow from 9 to 10 cars. Last year's runners-up WTR Andretti have expanded to 2 cars as they look to give Acura their 4th win in a row. Returning in number 10 are Philippe Albuquerque, Ricky Taylor and Brendan Hartley, with Andretti's new IndyCar driver Marcus Ericsson joining them. And in the brand new number 40, Jordan Taylor returns to the family team after 4 seasons away to partner Louis Delatraz, Colton Herta, who moves across from BMW, and Rolex 24 rookie and 2009 Formula One world champion Jenson Button. Chip Ganassi Racing have an unchanged driver lineup from 2023 aboard their number 01 Cadillac: Sebastian Bourdais, Scott Dixon and Renger van der Zande. They've downsized for 2024, not fielding their World Endurance Championship car as a one-off second entry. JDC Miller Motorsports returned to GTP after racing in LMP3 last year, whilst they waited for their Porsche 963 to be delivered. Tymon van der Helm and Richard Westbrook will drive with them for the full season, Phil Hansen will do the Michelin Endurance Cup, and Ben Keating will become the first amateur driver to race in GTP when he makes a one-off at the Rolex 24. Porsche Penske Motorsport have unchanged full season lineups, but have made some changes to their extra endurance drivers compared to 2023. In Car 6 we find Matthew Yamane, Nick Tandy, Kevin Estra and Lawrence Vantor, whilst in number 7 are Matt Campbell, Felipe Nasr, Frederick Makovecki and last year's Indy 500 winner Joseph Newgarden. BMW Team RLL had a disappointing race last year, with neither car running reliably. Only Augusto Farfus returns to number 24, where he's joined this time around by Jesse Krohn and Dries Van Tor, whilst in number 25 we find Connor De Filippi, Nick Yellerly and Maxime Martin. Both BMWs are set to have a 4th driver added at a later date. Tom Blomqvist is the only one of last year's 4 winning drivers to have found his way back to GTP, having joined last season's IMSA champions Action Express Racing and their Whelen Engineering Cadillac for the Michelin Endurance Cup. He joins Pipo Derani and Jack Aitken, Aitken being promoted to a full season drive. Alexander Sims is the driver Blomqvist is replacing, but he's remaining elsewhere on the IMSA grid. And rounding out the GTP field is Proton Competition, with another Porsche 963 for Gian-Maria Bruni, Neil Yarni and a to-be-confirmed 3rd driver. Proton won both LMP2 and GTD Pro in 2023, and also finished on the podium in GTP at the IMSA season finale Petit Le Mans, making them many people's dark horse for the race in 2024. I know a lot of fans want to see the Lamborghini SC63 LMDH in action in GTP, but we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that. The team have elected to skip Daytona and will make their GTP debut later on. In LMP2, we will have a 12-car grid, and this is another class with the defending winner absent, as Proton have moved up to GTP. United Autosports USA are the only multi-car team in LMP2, making their full season IMSA debut. Ben Keating is going to be pulling double duty at the Rolex 24 with his GTP drive in addition to his full season ride at United alongside Ben Hanley and Nico Pino. In Car 22 we find Paul di Resta and Dan Goldberg, with United, like most teams, still yet to confirm all 4 drivers for each car. Colin Brown, one of last year's overall winners with Meyer Shank, has joined CrowdStrike Racing by APR to pair up with George Kurtz, winner of last year's Jim Truman Award for Best Bronze Driver in LMP2 across the full IMSA season. Tower Motorsports have no drives announced so far for their number 8 car, and TDS Racing have downsized to one car for 2024, with Mikael Jensen and Stephen Thomas returning to the team, and new signings Hunter McElrea and Charles Malaysia joining them. Era Motorsport have retained 3 of their 2023 drivers, Ryan Dial, Dwight Merriman and Christian Rasmussen for the Rolex 24, and High Class Racing are another returning team, with new signings Seth Lucas and Lawrence Herr partnering team regular Dennis Anderson. For the first time since 2021, multiple chassis will be in the LMP2 class at Daytona, with Sean Creech Motorsport running their Ligier JSP 217. Multi-time overall winner Joel Barbosa remains with his co-driver for the last 3 years, Lance Wilsey. PR1 Mathiasen Motorsports have formed an alliance with Inter-Europol competition for 2024, which sees Le Mans LMP2 winner Jakub Smichowski the first name confirmed for the number 52, whilst last year's IMSA LMP3 champions Riley are stepping up to LMP2, with Felipe Fraga, Gar Robinson and Josh Burden all staying with the team. AF Corsa have Ferrari factory drivers Nicholas Nielsen and Lilu Wadu teaming up with Luis Perez Companc, and AO Racing, who ran the popular Rexy scheme in GTD for most of the season last year, have moved to LMP2 with Paul-Loup Chatin and PJ Hyatt. And for anyone wondering about LMP3, the class has been removed for 2024, given this is the second year in a row the race has been heavily oversubscribed. GTD Pro will feature a record-tying 13-car grid this year, including the return of the Factory Ford team with the brand new Ford Mustang GT3 and the world debut of the new Corvette GT3. But, and I feel like I'm saying this a lot, last year's winners WeatherTech Racing have not returned. Paul Miller Racing won last year's GTD Championship in dominant style, and as such have made the decision to step up to GTD Pro with their BMW. Brian Sellers and Madison Snow are back for the full season, with Neil Verhagen and Sheldon van der Linde joining them at Daytona. Corvette Racing by Pratt Miller Motorsports will return to 2 cars in 2024 with the brand new Chevrolet Corvette Z06 GT3R. In Car 3 we find Antonio Garcia, Alexander Sims and Daniel Juncadella, while sharing Car 4 are Earl Bamber, Nicky Katzberg and Tommy Milner. Sims and Bamber both move over from the Cadillac GTP effort, whilst new signing Juncadella was part of the winning Mercedes crew in 2023. Pfaff Motorsports have moved from Porsche to McLaren over the off-season, and have an all-new driver lineup of Oliver Jarvis, Marvin Kirchhoffer, James Hinchcliffe and Alexander Rossi, a crew which is sure to maintain them their fan favourite status. Vassar Sullivan won last year's IMSA title in dominant fashion, and returned with an unchanged trio aboard their Lexus RCF GT3, Ben Barnicoat, Jack Hawksworth and Carl Kirkwood. The official entry list also lists TBA on the 4th slot, so keep an eye out for another name to join them. Iron Lynx have entered a GTD Pro Lamborghini whilst they wait for their GTP car to come online, with the quartet of Mirko Bortolotti, Andrea Caldarelli, Jordan Pepper and Frank Pereira. The Heart of Racing team have a new driver for 2024, with Mario Farnbacher leaving Acura to join Ross Gunn and Alex Riberas aboard their number 23 Aston Martin Vantage. Risi Competizione will run the only Ferrari in GTD Pro, with 3 factory drivers behind the wheel, Alessandro Pierguidi, Davide Rigon and Daniel Serra. And Ford Multimatic Motorsport are sure to capture the attention as their factory Mustangs make their world debut. Mike Rockenfeller and Harry Tinknell are driving number 64, with Joey Hand and Dirk Mueller in the 65. The team's extra drivers for the endurance races are yet to be confirmed. Sun Energy One Racing are the only Mercedes on the grid in 2024 and have no drives announced so far, and AO Racing are maintaining a GT presence alongside their move to LMP2, with a GTD Pro Porsche entry for Lauren Heinrich and Sebastian Prio. the GTD Pro class is rounded out by another Porsche, the 92 of Kelly Moss with Riley, which is another with no drivers named. And, as has always been the case since it was first introduced, GTD will be the biggest class at this year's Rolex 24 with 25 cars. And finally we have the defending winners taking part again. Heart of Racing team with the number 27 Aston Martin for Roman DeAngelis, Ian James, Marco Sorensen, and new signing Zachary Robichon, who replaces Darren Turner. Vassar Sullivan, like Heart of Racing, are running a GTD car alongside their GTD Pro entry. Frankie Montecalvo, Parker Thompson and Aaron Tielitz all returning to the number 12 alongside a to-be-announced fourth driver. Like LMP2, 4 drivers are mandatory in GTD, whilst they are optional in GTP and GTD Pro. AWA are going to become the first customer Corvette team in 7 years when their 2-car team hits the track. In car 13 we find Matt Bell, Ore Fadani and Lars Kern, whilst in number 17 are Anthony Mandela, Nico Verone, Thomas Merrill and Charlie Eastwood. Verone and Eastwood will both be making their first starts since becoming Corvette factory drivers. AF Corsa are fielding a Ferrari for Kai Cozzolino, Francois Heriot and Simon Mann, whilst Triarsi Competizione are another returning Ferrari team. Ricky Agostini, factory driver Alessio Rivera, Charlie Scarsina and Onofrio Triarsi behind the wheel. Caught off Preston Motorsports are one of the few teams on the grid with an identical lineup to 12 months ago, as Michael Grenier, Maximilian Gertz, Kenton Cook and Mike Skeen all return aboard their Mercedes. Conquest Racing are making their IMSA return with a Ferrari 296 GT3 for Manny Franco, Cedric Birazzulli and Alessandro Bolzan. Apologies to Cedric, as there is no way I pronounced that correctly. Andretti Motorsport, which is different to WTR Andretti, have switched from Aston Martin to Porsche for their first full season in GTD, with Jarrett Andretti, Gabby Chavez and Scott Hargrove driving. Magnus Racing are back with their regular drivers Andy Lally, John Potter and Spencer Pumpelly aboard their Aston Martin, and Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America champions Danny Formau and Kyle Marcelli are making the step up to GTD for 2024, staying with the Raging Bull and also WTR Andretti. Chetelaar Racing are another Ferrari team contesting the Michelin Endurance Cup, with Eddie Cheever, Roberto Lacorte and Giorgio Sernagiotto. MDK Motorsports have increased to 2 cars for their sophomore Rolex 24, with no one confirmed for the 53, but Anders Fjordbach and Kerong Lee set to drive the 86 Porsche for the full season. Proton Competition gave us the big surprise of entry list reveal day, as they will run the first customer Ford Mustang GT3, with no drivers announced so far. Winward Racing return with their Mercedes for Daniel Morad and Russell Ward, and Iron Lynx are another team running in both GTD Pro and GTD, with Matteo Cressoni and Claudio Schiavone confirmed to be driving the number 60 Lamborghini. Gradient Racing are back with the only Acura NSX on the grid this year, as Catherine Legg and Sheena Monk return aboard the number 66. Inception Racing will be ones to watch after last year, or is it this year? Off-season is confusing on that front. Their driver Brendan Arieb won the Bob Aiken Award for being best bronze driver in GTD across the full season. Arieb will be joined by Frederick Scandorf, Ollie Milroy and Tom Gamble in 2024. Forte Racing have returned, albeit under a different name to last year, with their Lamborghini for Misha Goikhberg and Loris Spinelli, whilst Lone Star Racing have no drivers announced for their Mercedes entry. The ever-popular Iron Dames are back with a Lamborghini for Sarah Bovey, Rahal Fry, Michelle Gatting and a to-be-confirmed fourth driver. Kelly Moss with Riley also have a Porsche and GTD, again without any drivers listed. That's at least 7 drivers they'll have to announce late, and each one comes with a fine, so that's an expensive start to the season for them. Turner Motorsport have downsized to just 1 BMW for 2024, which surprisingly doesn't feature IMSA's most successful driver, Bill Oberlin. Instead, it's Michael Dinan, Robbie Foley, Patrick Gallagher and Jens Klingman who'll get behind the wheel. And the grid is rounded out by the Wright Motorsports Porsche, which has no drivers confirmed. Who are you going to be supporting at Daytona in 2024? And which drivers do you want to see fill those 2BA slots? Please let me know in the comments below. And whilst you're down there, why not press that like button and subscribe to the channel? It really helps me out.